Welcome to the Life Science Success Podcast. My name is Don. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a consultant in life sciences. I help companies manage complexity and increase performance. Today, I'm joined by Paul Romness, and we're together at Bayou in the Bayou. So welcome, Paul.
Great. Thanks, Don.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. So can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what brought you to life sciences? Why are you in this space?
Sure. I actually am the CEO of a company we started about 4 years ago called OS Therapies. When we originally started the company, stood for Osteosarcoma. We are a clinical and development company now. We have a phase 2B trial going with 24 kids in the trial that have had osteosarcoma. Um, I'm here because my younger daughter actually goes to Tulane and is in the life sciences field. And President Fitz and James invited me down to this conference. And it's been a great conference. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just phenomenal insights that are being presented. And I mean, so for somebody that sitting there watching early science for me is a bit outside of where I really consult. I mean, I'm normally much more engaged in like small to medium sized companies than I am the earlier, not even formed company age. Yeah, but to sit there and watch like a glucose inhibitor or a, this type of drug that could be a potential, thing that we see in the market in the future is amazing to me as well.
Yeah, and the fact that you have all these small companies, I think it's the right size conference. And then you've got the right people here too, and that you get the chance to talk to people. We met.
Right.
It was funny. One of the panels this morning was talking to the companies that are further behind us, both clinically and from a business development standpoint. We are planning to file our S1 to go public either tomorrow or Monday, hoping to go public the first week in January. So some of the advice that they gave on that panel this morning were network that you and I are just talking about.
For sure.
Make sure your deck's 8 to 10 pages and don't worry about a CDA. Because if you need a CDA, your IP is not good enough. Right.
Wow.
And so those were 3 things that they said this morning. I'm like, gosh, I wish someone told me that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I work with companies even today. I mean, one, their deck has too much science in it and not enough story. And then secondly, the you see a lot more of the companies that you're instantly in the CDA realm as well. Right. So, yeah.
Which it's a nuisance, right? We did it for the first 2 or 3 VCs, and for the next 100, we didn't.
Wow.
Right? Because if you don't have the IP, you probably shouldn't develop the product because you need to protect the commercial value.
Yeah.
So
Very good. So tell me a little bit more about OS Therapeutics. I mean, you're saying that you're about to file your S1. And so I'm just really interested in how long have you been at this? Well,
so I'll try and get through this without getting emotional, but I might not be able to. Actually, in February of 2017, my daughter's best friend was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. And I always tell the end of the story first. She's doing great,
that's good.
right? But over half the kids pass away to this disease. It's a bone cancer that happens in teenagers when the bone plates come together in your large bones. And there's a miscalculation. We can't figure out if it's genetic or environmental, although the rate of incidence is consistent around the world. So we'd have to think it's genetic. It's 0.03 per 100,000 patients. So it happens 1,000 times a year in the United States. Half the kids pass away from it. 10% of the kids pass away because of the chemotherapy, which is considered the worst chemo regimen in cancer. Doxorubicin, methotrexate, and cisplatin for 9 months. So when Olivia got sick, and she's doing great now, and she just celebrated 5 years cancer-free.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew that if it came back, we need to have an option for her. So, sorry, Don.
No problem. So is this like a secondary treatment then? So if somebody gets I was actually going to ask this as a nice follow on anyway, is that, so if somebody gets cancer a second time, is that where your treatment primarily fits, or could it be either?
That's where our clinical trial is now, because we know that within 48 weeks of a patient having had a metastasis already, they're going to have another one.
Mhm.
So our patient population are metastasized that have been resected age 12 to 39, because we know that the control historic control is 13% survival in that patient group.
Mm.
So we don't have a double blind placebo arm. We have one treatment arm because we know parents won't put their kids in a trial where they get a placebo where they know that it's 13% survival.
Right.
So the trial is going well. We have 24 patients who receive drug out of the 45, and they're doing really well. We're a private company right now. I don't know if this will be public,
Right.
but there are over 2/3 of the patients are still in the trial. Wow, just really exciting. So we know it's working. It's worked. It's been proven to work very well in dogs. I mentioned that there are 1,000 cases a year in kids. There are 30 to 40,000 cases a year in dogs. And this worked so well. This technology is out of the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Nicola Mason there, incredible scientist, did a trial with only 18 dogs, had a 3x improvement in overall survival and disease progression.
Wow.
Then did a phase 3 trial with 180 dogs. Looks very similar, really good results. So really exciting that it's working for dogs. We just want to treat it, see if it'll work in kids.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And I mean, I- in total, how long has it taken to get to this point? Okay.
Well, we started the
Years.
company about 4 years ago,
Okay.
right? So 4 or 5 years ago. My chief medical officer has been working on this for 9 years.
Okay.
He came over from the company that originally had the technology out of UPenn. And folks like Nicola Mason and Dr. Yvonne Patterson from UPenn have been working on this for 18 years.
Wow. Because I know it's typically a long journey, right, for any
is.
drug, and lots of sort of trials along the way that they've got to make their way through as well. So yeah.
It's exciting. The nice thing about startups, and we were talking about this earlier, it's not a real sport for old men, but you should be a young person when you do your first startup. But we can get things done a lot faster than big pharma. I was in big pharma for 25 plus years, J&J, Amgen, Boehringer Ingelheim. The rate of speed that we can do things is incredible. And the other thing that I think the misperception out there is that the FDA is some uh, government agency that's only blocking you and slowing you down. We found the FDA to be outstanding. Um, During COVID, they were responding on COVID issues, not that we're a COVID treating therapy at all, but they were responding to COVID uh, questions from industry within 24 hours. They got back to us on everything within 10 days, which
Wow.
is spectacular.
Yeah.
And the rate of which the FDA has been efficient is really impressive, helpful.
Yeah, I know with other companies that I've been involved in, the partnership with the FDA has been, helpful as well. I mean, I think the main thing that I wish that we would see would be quicker speed built into the process because of what we saw with COVID. I think, just to try and make sure I phrase it correctly, because I do, I feel like that some amazing things happened around the time when everybody was, needing a diagnostic and needing a drug for, you know, being infected. And all of those times, essentially I felt like, there were lessons to be learned in efficiency and how do we get faster and things like that. I'm sure there are great people there that have good ideas about.
Oh, the single reason of the efficiency is they weren't sitting on 495 or 270 in traffic or sitting in
Right.
meetings that weren't real productive.
Right.
They were at their desks, whether it was at home or wherever else, getting their job done. The great statistic I like to quote about the FDA is over the last 5 years, 25% of the approvals have been trials just like ours, single phase 1 or phase 2 trials where you have a historic, very deadly result. And the therapy shows to work and has very few side effects. So why not approve it? And they have them.
That's amazing. I feel like, that's great to hear as well. So, well, Paul, thank you so much for being on the Life Science Success Podcast. Is there anything, more that you hope to get out of the Bio and the Bayou conference?
Well, first of all, great to meet you, and I love this opportunity. Anyone that's interested in OS therapies, it's www.ostherapies.com.
Perfect. And I'll have all of that linked together on the website as well to make sure people can get to you.
Great.
Thanks a lot. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Doc.
you being here.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.